The screams pierced the perfect garden party, but everyone kept sipping champagne, ignoring little William's desperate cries from his wheelchair. Only Lily, the gardener's daughter who'd snuck in for food scraps, noticed his trembling fingers pointing toward the swimming pool, but no one imagined what would come next. What guided you here today? Fate or friend? Like plus subscribe. Your next breakthrough awaits. The annual Montgomery family gathering was in full swing at Harrison Montgomery's sprawling estate in Connecticut. 27 members of America's most prestigious banking family mingled in the manicured gardens, champagne flutes clinking amid polite laughter. But in the corner, partially hidden behind an ornamental hedge, 6-year-old William Montgomery sat in his custom wheelchair, screaming. No one approached him. Not the aunts who whispered about what a shame his condition was. Not the uncles discussing investment portfolios. Not even the staff who'd been instructed to keep their distance unless specifically called. Just ignore him, Harrison Montgomery told his guests with practiced casualness. The doctors say it's just for attention, nothing to be done. The boy's mother, Elizabeth, smiled tightly from across the lawn, pretending not to hear her son's escalating cries while discussing her latest charity gala with Harrison's business associates. William had been born with cerebral palsy. His small body was locked in a wheelchair, his communication limited to sounds the family found embarrassing. The Montgomerys had the finest specialists, the most advanced equipment, and round-the-clock nurses, everything money could buy except genuine care. He'll tire himself out eventually, Harrison assured everyone. But across the garden, hidden behind the catering tent, another child watched. 10-year-old Lily Carter had come with her father, who worked as the Montgomerys' groundskeeper. They lived in the small cottage at the edge of the property, barely making ends meet since Lily's mother died last winter. "Stay out of sight," her father had warned, before heading to fix a broken sprinkler system. Hunger had driven Lily toward the buffet table. She hadn't eaten since yesterday's dinner, a shared can of soup. But William's screams stopped her. Unlike the adults, she heard something specific in them, something urgent. "He's not just screaming," she whispered to herself, watching the boy's eyes. "He's trying to tell them something." When no one was looking, Lily slipped closer to William's wheelchair, staying low behind the decorative shrubs. "Hi," she said, emerging beside him. "I'm Lily." William's screams stopped abruptly. Tears streaked his face, but his eyes locked onto hers with an intensity that startled her. "You want something, don't you?" Lily whispered. William's right hand trembled as he raised it slightly, pointing toward the Olympic-sized swimming pool at the far end of the garden. "The pool?" Lily asked. William's eyes widened. He jerked his head in what might have been a nod. Lily looked toward the glimmering blue water, trying to understand. That's when she noticed something floating near the far edge, something small and colorful beneath the surface. "Is that what you're trying to tell them?" she asked. William made a guttural sound, different from his screams. His eyes filled with fresh tears. Lily stood up. "I'll check." She walked toward the pool, aware she was breaking her promise to stay hidden, but certain this mattered more. As she approached the water's edge, she realized what William had been trying to tell everyone. A small body floated face down in the water, bright yellow sundress billowing around it. "Help!" Lily screamed, her voice cutting through the elegant party chatter. "There's a little girl in the pool!" The reaction was immediate. Glasses shattered, women gasped, men rushed forward. Harrison Montgomery dropped his conversation mid-sentence and sprinted across the lawn. "Emily?" Elizabeth's voice rose in panic as she scanned the crowd for her 3-year-old daughter. "Where's Emily?" Harrison reached the pool first, diving in without removing his $5,000 suit. He surfaced seconds later with the tiny yellow bundle in his arms. The child wasn't moving. "Call an ambulance!" someone shouted. "I'm a doctor," a woman in a silk dress announced, rushing forward as Harrison laid the little girl on the stone patio. Lily stood frozen, watching as the doctor began CPR. From the corner of her eye, she saw William in his wheelchair. He had stopped screaming entirely now. Silent tears rolled down his cheeks. Elizabeth collapsed beside her daughter, her perfect makeup streaking down her face. "Emily! Emily, baby, wake up!" The next few minutes were chaos. The doctor worked tirelessly. Guests huddled in horrified clusters. Someone ushered the other children away. Lily felt a hand on her shoulder and turned to find her father, face pale with shock. "What happened?" he whispered. "William was trying to tell them," Lily said. "He saw her fall in. He was screaming for help, but nobody listened." Her father squeezed her shoulder hard. "Stay here. Don't move." Suddenly the little girl on the ground coughed, water spilling from her mouth. A collective gasp of relief swept through the crowd. Emily's eyes fluttered open, confused and frightened. "She's breathing," the doctor announced, "but she needs to go to the hospital immediately." The ambulance arrived within minutes. As paramedics loaded Emily inside, Elizabeth climbed in beside her, still sobbing. Harrison stood helplessly on the driveway, dripping wet, watching them drive away. The party disintegrated quickly after that. Guests made awkward excuses to leave. Staff began cleaning up abandoned plates and glasses. "The boy knew," Lily's father said to Harrison as they stood near the pool. "William was trying to tell you Emily was in danger." Harrison's face hardened. "That's ridiculous. William can't communicate that clearly." "My daughter says he was pointing to the pool. He stopped screaming the moment she understood and went to check." Harrison glanced toward William, who sat quietly now in his wheelchair watching them. "He's severely disabled," Harrison said dismissively. "The doctors have been clear about his cognitive limitations." "Maybe you should ask different doctors," Lily's father suggested quietly. Later that evening, as the sun set over the Montgomery estate, Lily found herself summoned to the main house. Her father walked beside her, his work clothes making her acutely aware of how out of place they were in the marble-floored entrance hall. "Mr. Montgomery wants to speak with you," the housekeeper said, leading them to Harrison's study. Lily had never been inside the big house before. She tried not to stare at the paintings and crystal chandeliers as they walked through corridors that seemed longer than her entire home. Harrison Montgomery sat behind an enormous desk, his wet suit replaced by casual clothes that probably cost more than her father made in a month. His face was haggard, eyes bloodshot. "Tell me exactly what happened," he said when they entered. Lily shifted uncomfortably under Harrison Montgomery's intense gaze. The leather chair she sat in was too big, making her feel smaller than her 10 years. "William was screaming," she began hesitantly, "but not like he was upset, like he was trying really hard to say something important." Harrison leaned forward, "And you could tell the difference?" "Yes, sir. My mum used to work with special needs kids at the community center before she got sick. She taught me that everyone communicates, just not always with words." Something flickered in Harrison's eyes, surprise, maybe even shame. He glanced at a framed family photo on his desk. "Go on," he said, his voice softer. "I went over to him and he stopped screaming right away. He was pointing at the pool. His hand was shaking, but he was definitely pointing." Lily demonstrated the gesture. "His eyes kept looking that way too, so I went to check." Harrison rubbed his temples. "Emily could have died today." "Is she okay?" Lily asked. "Yes. The doctors say she'll recover completely." He paused. "Thanks to you and thanks to William." The door opened, and Elizabeth Montgomery entered. She changed into fresh clothes, but her face was pale and drawn. "Emily's asleep," she told Harrison. Then she noticed Lily and her father. "Who are they?" "This is Tom Carter, our groundskeeper," Harrison explained, "and his daughter, Lily. She's the one who found Emily in the pool." Elizabeth's perfect posture crumpled slightly. She approached Lily, kneeling to meet her eyes. "You saved my daughter's life," she said, voice breaking. "Thank you." "It was really William," Lily replied honestly. "He saw it happen. He was trying to tell everyone, but nobody listened to him." Elizabeth flinched as if Lily had struck her. She looked to Harrison, who nodded slowly. "I've been speaking with Lily," he confirmed. "She says William was deliberately pointing to the pool." "That's not possible," Elizabeth whispered. "Dr. Blackwell said his cognitive function is severely impaired. He said William doesn't understand." "Maybe Dr. Blackwell is wrong," Harrison interrupted. His voice carried the weight of a man reassessing everything he thought he knew. Elizabeth stood shakily. "I should check on William." "He's with Nurse Matthews in his room," Harrison said. "I've asked her to stay overnight." After Elizabeth left, Harrison turned back to Lily and her father. "Mr. Carter, your daughter has shown remarkable perception today. I'd like to offer her a summer job." Tom Carter straightened. "A job, sir, as William's companion. 4 hours each afternoon at $20 an hour." Lily's eyes widened. $20 an hour was more money than she could imagine. "With all due respect, Mr. Montgomery," her father began cautiously, "Lily has no formal training with special needs children." "She has something better," Harrison replied. "She actually sees my son. Not his wheelchair or his disability, him." He looked directly at Lily. "Would you be willing to spend time with William this summer, just talking to him, playing games, treating him like any other kid?" Lily thought about the boy in the wheelchair. His intelligent eyes locked on hers, desperate to be understood. "Yes," she said firmly. "I'd like that." Later that night, in their small cottage, Lily's father looked troubled as he prepared their simple dinner. "I'm not sure about this arrangement," he admitted. "The Montgomerys live in a different world from us, Lily. They can be difficult." "William isn't difficult," Lily insisted. "He's just stuck. Like when I had laryngitis last winter and couldn't talk for a week, remember? I knew what I wanted to say, but nothing came out right." Her father smiled sadly. "You've got your mother's heart, that's for sure." Lily helped set their wobbly table with mismatched plates. "I can help him, Dad. I know I can." "That's what worries me," her father said quietly. "What happens when the Montgomerys don't need us anymore?" Lily arrived at the Montgomery mansion the following Monday afternoon, wearing her nicest clothes, which still felt woefully inadequate against the grandeur of the estate. Nurse Matthews, a stern-faced woman in crisp scrubs, greeted her at the side entrance. "Mr. Montgomery has instructed me to show you William's daily routine," she said, leading Lily through servants' corridors to the east wing. "The child requires absolute consistency." "His name is William, not the child," Lily corrected before she could stop herself. Nurse Matthews' expression tightened. "I've been caring for William for 3 years. I know what's best for him." They reached a door decorated with a painted sign. "William's room." Inside was a space that resembled a hospital room, more than a child's bedroom. Medical equipment lined one wall. The shelves held educational toys that looked untouched. There were no posters, no mess, nothing personal except a single framed photo of the Montgomery family. William sat in his wheelchair by the window, staring at the gardens below. He didn't turn when they entered. "He's been uncooperative since yesterday," Nurse Matthews reported clinically. "Refusing food, not engaging with therapeutic activities." Lily approached slowly, moving into William's line of sight. "Hi, William. Remember me? I'm Lily." The change was immediate. William's eyes brightened. His right hand trembled as he raised it slightly, his way of greeting her. "I'll be here every afternoon now," Lily explained. "We can hang out if you want." William's mouth worked, producing a sound somewhere between a grunt and a word. "I brought something," Lily continued, pulling a worn book from her backpack. "It's called Matilda. My mum used to read it to me. It's about a girl who can move things with her mind when adults don't listen to her." For the next hour, Lily read aloud. William remained completely focused, his eyes tracking every page turn. When she reached a funny part, his face contorted in what she realized was laughter, though it emerged as a strange, choking sound. Nurse Matthews watched from the doorway, her clipboard forgotten in her hands. "He hasn't been this engaged in months," she admitted reluctantly. When Elizabeth Montgomery appeared to check on them, she froze at the threshold, watching her son's animated responses to Lily's reading. "He understands the story," Elizabeth whispered, as if this revelation physically pained her. "Of course he does," Lily replied simply. That evening at dinner, Harrison questioned his wife. "How did it go with the Carter girl?" Elizabeth twirled pasta around her fork without eating it. She read to him for hours. He was different with her. Different how? Responsive, engaged. Elizabeth set down her fork. "Harrison, what if we've been wrong about him all this time? What if William has been trapped inside himself, understanding everything but unable to communicate?" Harrison's knuckles whitened around his wine glass. "Then we've failed our son completely." The next afternoon, Lily arrived with a pad of paper and colored pencils. "I thought we could try something," she told William after Nurse Matthews reluctantly left them alone. She placed a red pencil in William's right hand, supporting his wrist. "Can you make a mark if you want to say yes? Any mark at all?" William's hand trembled violently, but a faint red line appeared on the paper. "That's great," Lily encouraged. "Now can you make a different mark for no? Maybe a dot instead of a line?" It took 3 attempts, but William managed a wobbly dot. "Okay," Lily said, heart racing with excitement. "Let's practice. Do you like chocolate ice cream?" A shaky line appeared. "Do you like Brussels sprouts?" A dot followed after intense concentration. By the end of the week, they had established a rudimentary communication system. Line for yes, dot for no. 2 lines for "I'm tired." 3 for "I need something important." When Lily demonstrated their progress to Harrison and Elizabeth that Friday, Elizabeth burst into tears and fled the room. "Give her time," Harrison told Lily, his own eyes suspiciously bright. "This changes everything we thought we knew about our son." But later, Lily overheard Nurse Matthews speaking with Elizabeth in the hallway. "Mrs. Montgomery, you mustn't get your hopes up. The girl is well-meaning, but she's creating false expectations, Doctor. Blackwell has confirmed William's limitations repeatedly. But what if Dr. Blackwell is wrong?" Elizabeth's voice sounded desperate. "Dr. Blackwell is the foremost pediatric neurologist on the East Coast," Nurse Matthews countered. "The Carter girl is just a child herself, with no medical training whatsoever." She saw what we all missed with Emily. "A lucky coincidence," Nurse Matthews insisted. "Nothing more." 3 weeks into Lily's summer job, the dynamic at the Montgomery estate had shifted dramatically. William now had a communication board, a laminated sheet with basic words and images that he could point to with Lily's help. His favorite phrase quickly became "read more," which he indicated whenever Lily finished a chapter. They'd graduated from Matilda to Harry Potter, and William's responses to the story made it clear he not only understood but had opinions about the characters. When Lily asked if he thought Snape was good or bad, William laboriously pointed to both yes and no on his board. "Complicated, huh?" Lily had smiled. "My mom always said the best characters are." Today, however, William seemed agitated. His movements were more jerky than usual, and he kept pointing to "want" on his board, but wouldn't select what he wanted. "Is it something not on your board?" Lily asked. William's right hand tapped once against his wheelchair armrest. "Yes." "Is it something in this room?" Tap, "Yes." "Is it?" Lily looked around the sterile bedroom. "Is it about your room?" Tap, "Yes." After 20 minutes of questions, Lily finally understood. "You want to redecorate your room? Make it more like a real kid's room?" William's face lit up with such joy that Lily immediately fetched her sketchbook. For the next hour, they designed William's dream bedroom together. Space-themed walls, glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling, bookshelves filled with adventures, a special projector that could display movies directly above his bed for days when sitting in his wheelchair was too painful. When Harrison came to check on them, Lily presented their design. William chose everything himself, she explained. He has tons of ideas. Harrison studied the colorful drawings, expression unreadable. "I'll speak with the interior designer," he finally said. 2 days later, contractors arrived. William's medical equipment was carefully relocated to an adjoining room, accessible but no longer dominating his space. By Friday, William had the bedroom of his dreams, including a custom bookshelf within reach of his wheelchair. Elizabeth had watched the transformation with a complicated mix of emotions. On Saturday morning, she appeared at the Carter's cottage, designer handbag clutched awkwardly against her linen dress. "William has asked for Lily," she told Tom Carter when he answered the door. "It's not her scheduled day, I know, but—" She hesitated. "He's refusing his therapy until he can show her his new room." Tom glanced at his daughter, who was already reaching for her shoes. "It's the weekend, Mrs. Montgomery. I'll pay triple her usual rate." "It's not about the money," Tom began, but Lily interrupted. "I want to go, Dad. William's my friend now." The word friend seemed to startle Elizabeth. She blinked rapidly, then nodded. "Yes, I believe he is." At the mansion, William was waiting in his spectacular new space. The transformation was complete. Gone was the hospital atmosphere, replaced by the vibrant room they'd designed together. William's eyes shone as Lily exclaimed over every detail. "This is amazing," she told him, spinning to take it all in. "It's exactly what we planned." Elizabeth lingered in the doorway, watching her son's happiness with a strange expression. "William has something else to show you," she said quietly. "Something we've been practicing." She approached William's wheelchair and adjusted something on the armrest, a small tablet computer mounted at the perfect angle for William to see. On the screen was a communication app with a simple keyboard layout. Elizabeth pressed a button, and the device spoke in a computerized voice. "Hello, Lily." William had typed it himself. Lily gasped. "You can type?" William's fingers moved laboriously across the screen, selecting one letter at a time. The voice spoke again. "Learning. Hard but worth it." Tears sprang to Lily's eyes. That's incredible, William." Elizabeth's composed facade cracked slightly. "Dr. Blackwell said it wouldn't be possible, that William lacked the cognitive function and fine motor control necessary for assistive technology." Her voice hardened. "We're seeing a new specialist next week. Dr. Blackwell has been relieved of his duties." As Elizabeth left them to explore the communication device together, Lily couldn't help noticing the family photo still displayed on William's shelf. It showed the Montgomerys posed formally in expensive clothes, William in his wheelchair off to one side. Everyone was smiling except William, whose expression was blank and disconnected. It looked nothing like the boy before her now, laboriously typing, "Thank you for seeing me." August arrived with sweltering heat that turned the Montgomery estate's vast lawns a dull brown, despite the groundskeeper's best efforts. Inside William's air-conditioned bedroom, however, progress continued at an astonishing pace. The new specialist, Dr. Aditi Sharma, had revolutionized William's care. Unlike Dr. Blackwell, she specialized in assistive technology and presumed competence in all her patients, regardless of their physical limitations. "William's mind is completely intact," she explained during their first session. "His cerebral palsy affects his motor control, not his cognitive abilities. With the right tools, there's no reason he can't communicate as effectively as anyone else." Under Dr. Sharma's guidance, William had upgraded to a more sophisticated communication device that tracked his eye movements, allowing him to select letters and words much faster than before. His vocabulary expanded exponentially, revealing a sharp intellect and dry sense of humor that surprised everyone, except Lily. "Did you always know I wasn't stupid?" William asked her one afternoon, his device translating his eye selections into spoken words. "You were never stupid," Lily replied firmly. "You just needed the right tools." The device spoke again. "Sometimes I pretended I didn't understand. Easier than trying to be heard." The confession broke Lily's heart. How many times had William retreated into himself, giving up on being understood? Today, however, was a milestone. For the first time, William was joining the family for dinner in the formal dining room rather than eating separately in his room with Nurse Matthews, who had been replaced by a younger, more progressive aide named Jason. "Are you nervous?" Lily asked as Jason helped William into a freshly pressed button-down shirt. William's eyes moved across his screen. Terrified. What if I'm too slow with responses? Father hates waiting. "Your dad's learning," Lily assured him, "and I'll be right there." The Montgomerys had invited Lily and her father to join them, an unprecedented gesture that crossed the employer-employee boundary that had always separated their families. When they gathered in the opulent dining room, Lily noticed how Harrison kept glancing at William with a mixture of pride and lingering guilt. Elizabeth, meanwhile, had thrown herself into learning everything about adaptive communication, often speaking directly to William now, instead of about him to others. "William has been working on a surprise," Elizabeth announced as the first course was served. "He'd like to share it tonight." All eyes turned to William, whose communication device sat mounted to his wheelchair. The computerized voice spoke. "I have written a story. Lily helped me type it. Would you like to hear it?" The table fell silent. In the 6 years of his life, William had never been able to create anything original that others could experience. "We'd be honored, son," Harrison said, voice thick. Jason handed Lily a tablet, and she began to read the short story William had painstakingly composed over the past 2 weeks. It was a tale about a boy trapped in a glass box, able to see the world but unable to reach it, until a girl with a golden key appeared and opened a small window. By the time Lily finished reading, Elizabeth was openly crying. Harrison stared at his plate, jaw working. Even Tom Carter cleared his throat several times. "That was beautiful, William," Elizabeth finally managed. William's device spoke again. "It's how I felt before. The glass box is gone now." The moment was interrupted by 3-year-old Emily, who had been unusually quiet throughout dinner. "Willie made a story?" she asked, eyes wide. Since her near drowning, she'd developed a fascination with her older brother, often sitting beside his wheelchair to read picture books to him. "Yes, sweetheart," Elizabeth answered. "William wrote a wonderful story." "Willie's smart," Emily declared with the absolute certainty of a toddler. The adults laughed, tension broken. As dessert was served, Harrison cleared his throat. "Tom, I wanted to discuss something with you." He looked uncomfortable but determined. "William's progress these past 2 months has been, well, nothing short of miraculous. Much of that is due to your daughter." Tom nodded cautiously. "Lily's grown quite attached to William." "The feeling is mutual," Harrison continued, "which is why we'd like to offer Lily a permanent position after summer ends, as William's communication partner, full-time with benefits." Tom frowned. "Lily has school, Mr. Montgomery." "Of course, we've spoken with the principal at Greenwich Academy. They're prepared to offer Lily a full scholarship, and her afternoons would be spent here working with William. Their adaptive learning specialist would oversee both their educational programs." Lily's fork clattered against her plate. "Greenwich Academy was the most prestigious private school in Connecticut." "That's very generous," Tom said carefully, "but we can't accept charity." "It's not charity," Elizabeth interjected. "It's an investment in both children's futures. William needs Lily, and frankly, Greenwich Academy would be lucky to have her." Under the table, William's hand reached for Lily's, his trembling fingers closing around hers with surprising strength. His device spoke, "Please say yes." The glossy brick buildings of Greenwich Academy intimidated Lily on her first day of school. Everything about the campus screamed wealth and privilege, from the Olympic-sized swimming pool to the equestrian center visible in the distance. Lily clutched her new backpack, a gift from Elizabeth, and wished she could disappear into the perfectly manicured landscaping. "You must be Lily Carter," a tall woman in a tailored suit approached, hand extended. "I'm Headmistress Winters. We're delighted to welcome you to Greenwich Academy." Lily shook her hand nervously. "Thank you, ma'am." "The Montgomerys speak very highly of you," the headmistress continued, guiding Lily toward the main building. "It's not often we receive such a glowing recommendation from one of our most generous benefactors." The comment made Lily's stomach twist. She was here because of the Montgomerys' influence, not her own merit. The thought must have shown on her face, because Headmistress Winters stopped walking. "Your entrance exams were exceptional, Lily," she said kindly. "You earned your place here, regardless of who recommended you." The reassurance helped, but Lily still felt like an imposter as she was shown to her first class. The other students wore the same uniform as her, but somehow they made it look natural, while Lily felt like she was wearing a costume. "Class, this is Lily Carter, joining us from Millfield Public," her teacher announced. "Lily, you can take the empty seat beside Abigail." Abigail, a pretty blonde with perfect posture, barely glanced at Lily as she slid into the adjacent desk. "That's Madison's seat," Abigail whispered. "She's just absent today." "Oh," Lily whispered back. "Should I move?" Abigail shrugged. "Doesn't matter. You won't be here long anyway." "Excuse me." "Scholarship kids never last," Abigail said dismissively, "especially mid-year transfers." Before Lily could respond, the teacher called on Abigail to solve a math problem, and the conversation ended. But the words lingered, reinforcing Lily's fears that she didn't belong in this world of privilege. By lunchtime, Lily was exhausted from trying to navigate the complex social dynamics of her new school. She sat alone at the end of a table, picking at her food and missing the simplicity of Millfield Public's noisy cafeteria. "You're the Montgomery charity case, right?" Lily looked up to find a tall boy standing over her, flanked by two friends. His expression wasn't unkind, just curious. "I work for the Montgomerys," Lily corrected, "with their son, William." The boy raised an eyebrow. "The disabled kid. What do? Babysit him?" Something protective flared in Lily's chest. "I'm his communication partner. William has cerebral palsy, but he's smarter than most people realize." "Right," the boy said skeptically. He stuck out his hand. "I'm Preston Whitmore. My dad and Mr. Montgomery are on the hospital board together." Lily shook his hand cautiously. "Nice to meet you." "You should sit with us tomorrow," Preston offered. "I'll introduce you to everyone who matters around here." "Do." The offer was friendly, but something about his phrasing bothered Lily. Everyone who matters. As if some people didn't. After school, Harrison's driver collected Lily and brought her to the Montgomery estate, where William was waiting in his newly remodeled study. The room adjoined his bedroom, but had been designed as a workspace, with adaptive technology that allowed William to control various devices with minimal physical effort. His face lit up when Lily entered. "How was your first day?" his device asked. Lily hesitated. She didn't want to admit how out of place she'd felt, how the other students had either ignored her or treated her like an exotic specimen. William's eyes narrowed. His device spoke again. "The truth, please. I can tell when you're editing." Lily sighed and sank into the chair beside his wheelchair. "It was hard," she admitted. Everyone there comes from money. They all know each other already. I'm the weird scholarship kid who works for a living. Sorry, William's device said after a pause. My family's fault. No, Lily said quickly. It's an amazing opportunity. I just need to adjust. They spent the afternoon working on their respective homework, though William finished his mathematics problems long before Lily. She'd discovered that despite his physical limitations, William was exceptionally gifted at subjects requiring logic and analysis. You should be in advanced classes, she told him, as he helped her understand a particularly difficult algebra concept. Working on it, his device replied. Dr. Sharma is testing me next week. As September progressed, Lily settled into her dual life. Greenwich Academy student by day, William's communication partner by afternoon. The arrangement was exhausting but rewarding. For every cold shoulder she received at school, William's genuine friendship made up for it tenfold. One Friday, Preston Whitmore approached Lily as she packed up her books. There's a party at my house tomorrow night, he said casually. You should come. Lily blinked in surprise. Me? Why not? Everyone's curious about you. The girl who unlocked the Montgomery mystery child. He smiled. Plus, you're not half bad looking for a scholarship case. The backhanded compliment made Lily wince, but she was saved from responding by the arrival of Harrison's driver. I have to go, she said, hurrying away. When she told William about the invitation, his reaction surprised her. His device spoke. You should go. Make friends your own age. Those kids aren't my friends, Lily protested. They're only interested because I work for your family. William's expression turned sad. Know how that feels. People only see Montgomery, not William. The simple observation hit Lily like a physical blow. Of course, William understood what it was like to be defined by circumstances beyond his control. Maybe we're both just stuck between worlds, Lily said quietly. William's device spoke again after a thoughtful pause. Then we'll make our own. The Whitmore party was exactly as ostentatious as Lily had expected. Preston's family mansion rivaled the Montgomerys in size, though it lacked the old money elegance of Harrison's estate. Everything was aggressively modern, from the abstract sculptures dotting the manicured grounds to the glass walls that made the entire first floor visible from the circular driveway. Lily had agonized over what to wear before Elizabeth unexpectedly solved the problem, presenting her with a simple but clearly expensive blue dress for special occasions. Now, standing at the entrance to Preston's home, Lily was grateful for Elizabeth's gesture. At least her clothing wouldn't immediately mark her as an outsider. You came! Preston appeared beside her, red solo cup in hand. His eyes swept appreciatively over her dress. And you clean up nice, Carter. Thanks, Lily said uncertainly. Nice house. Dad's a hedge fund guy. Preston shrugged, as if a $30 million estate was barely worth mentioning. Come on, everyone's out by the pool. Everyone turned out to be about 30 Greenwich Academy students, all dressed in designer clothes, all seemingly at ease in this world of extreme wealth. Lily recognized Abigail among a cluster of girls who immediately fell silent when Preston led Lily over. Ladies, you know Lily, Preston said, his tone making it clear they were expected to be friendly. Nice dress, Abigail said, her smile not reaching her eyes. Looks like a Montgomery hand-me-down. Lily felt her cheeks flush. Actually, it's new. Of course it is, another girl said with false sweetness. Elizabeth Montgomery has excellent taste. She must enjoy having her own life-size charity doll to dress up. The group tittered. Preston frowned. Ease up, Madison. What? Madison's innocent expression was masterful. I'm complimenting her benefactors. The Montgomerys are so generous, adopting strays. Lily's hands curled into fists. I'm not a charity case. I earn my place with the Montgomerys by helping their son communicate. Madison raised a perfectly groomed eyebrow. Oh, right. The retarded kid who can suddenly talk through computers. Convenient timing, with your father about to lose the groundskeeper cottage and all. The accusation hit like ice water. What are you talking about? Madison smirked. My father manages the Montgomery estate holdings. He says your dad was weeks away from being replaced before you suddenly discovered the Montgomery boy could communicate. She made air quotes around the word discovered. That's not true, Lily whispered, though a sick feeling was spreading through her stomach. Her father had been worried about money before the incident with Emily. Isn't it? Madison pressed. The timing is pretty suspicious. One day you're the invisible groundskeeper's daughter. The next you're saving the little heiress, getting paid $20 an hour and being handed a full ride to Greenwich. Preston shifted uncomfortably. Madison, that's enough. No, I want to hear what she's implying, Lily said, anger replacing shock. What exactly are you saying, Madison? The other girl leaned in, voice dripping with malice. I'm saying you saw an opportunity and took it. Maybe the Montgomery kid does understand some things, but you've exaggerated his abilities to secure your position. My father says it's statistically impossible for someone with his level of brain damage to suddenly communicate at the level the Montgomerys are claiming. Your father doesn't know anything about William, Lily shot back. Dr. Blackwell was wrong about his condition. Dr. Sharma has confirmed. Doctor. Sharma works for the Montgomerys now, Madison interrupted. She'll say whatever they pay her to say, just like you. Something snapped inside Lily. William is brilliant. He understands everything. He was trapped in his own body while people like you and your father dismissed him as brain damaged without even trying to communicate with him. Madison rolled her eyes. Please, even if that were true, which it isn't, you have to admit the whole thing is a little too perfect. Poor little Lily Carter saves the day and gets rescued from poverty in return. I didn't plan any of this, Lily protested, but the seed of doubt had been planted. Had her father been about to lose his job? Was that why he'd been so worried about money? And if so, had the Montgomerys kept him on because of her relationship with William? Madison must have seen the uncertainty in Lily's face. She smiled triumphantly. Like I said, convenient. Lily turned and walked away before anyone could see the tears threatening to spill. She found a quiet spot in Preston's extensive gardens and pulled out her phone, hands shaking as she typed a message to her father. Was your job at risk before I started working with William? The response came 2 minutes later. Who told you that? Not a denial, Lily noted with growing dread. She typed back, Madison Pearson. Her dad manages Montgomery properties. This time, the reply took longer. It's complicated, Lily. We can talk when you get home. That was confirmation enough. Lily leaned against an ornamental tree, mind racing. Had everything, William's communication breakthrough, her job, her scholarship, been built on pity and obligation rather than genuine merit? Hey. Preston's voice interrupted her thoughts. He stood awkwardly a few feet away, hands shoved in his pockets. Madison's a bitch. Don't let her get to you. Lily wiped her eyes quickly. Is she right? About my dad's job, Preston hesitated. I don't know, maybe, but that doesn't mean what you're doing with the Montgomery kid isn't real. His name is William, Lily corrected automatically. Right. William. Preston took a step closer. Look, do you want me to drive you home? This party sucks anyway. Lily considered the offer. Going home meant facing her father, demanding the truth about how close they'd come to losing everything. She wasn't ready for that conversation yet. Actually, she said, could you take me to the Montgomerys instead? The Montgomery estate was quiet when Preston's car pulled up to the main entrance. Most of the windows were dark, the family presumably settled in for the evening. Want me to wait? Preston asked as Lily opened the passenger door. No, thanks. I can get the driver to take me home later." Preston nodded, then hesitated. "For what it's worth, I don't think you're faking anything, not with how you talk about him." The unexpected support surprised Lily. "Thanks, Preston. See you Monday?" "Yeah." As Preston's car disappeared down the long driveway, Lily approached the front door. She rarely used this entrance, typically coming through the service door near the kitchen. But tonight, she needed to see William immediately, and this was the fastest route to his wing of the house. She rang the bell, adjusting the blue dress nervously. After a moment, the door opened to reveal Harrison Montgomery in casual evening clothes, reading glasses perched on his nose. "Lily!" His surprise was evident. "Is everything all right?" "I need to see William," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. "I know it's late, but it's important." Harrison studied her face for a moment, then stepped aside. "Of course. He's still awake, I believe. Elizabeth is reading with him." Lily followed Harrison through the grand foyer, past artwork worth more than her father's lifetime earnings, to the East Wing where William's rooms were located. With each step, Madison's accusations echoed in her head. Was she just a charity case? Had the Montgomerys orchestrated everything out of guilt or obligation? Harrison knocked softly on William's bedroom door before opening it. Inside, Elizabeth sat beside William's bed, a book open in her lap. William was propped up against pillows, his communication device mounted on a swing arm within easy reach. "Lily's here to see William," Harrison announced. Elizabeth looked up in surprise. "Lily, I thought you were at a party tonight." "I was," Lily said, "but I need to talk to William, alone if that's okay." Elizabeth and Harrison exchanged glances. "Of course," Elizabeth said, marking her place in the book. "We'll be in the study if you need anything." When they were alone, William's eyes fixed on Lily's face, immediately detecting her distress. His fingers moved to his device. "What happened?" Lily sat on the edge of his bed, suddenly unsure how to begin. "William, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest." William nodded, his expression serious. "Before I started working with you, was my dad about to lose his job here?" William blinked, clearly surprised by the question. After a moment, his device spoke. "Yes. Harrison was unhappy with groundskeeping, planning changes." The confirmation sent a wave of nausea through Lily. "So everything, my job, my scholarship, all of it, was because your parents felt guilty or obligated?" William's brow furrowed as he composed his response. "Initially, perhaps, but not now. You proved yourself." "Did I?" Lily whispered. "Or did I just see what I wanted to see? What if I've been exaggerating your abilities because I needed this job, needed the scholarship?" William's eyes flashed with an emotion Lily had never seen before, anger. His next message came slowly, deliberately. "Are you questioning my intelligence now, like everyone else?" The accusation stung. "No, I would never." "You are." The computerized voice couldn't convey emotion, but William's expression did. "Someone told you about your father, and now you think everything might be fake." Lily looked down, ashamed. "Madison Pearson said—" William's device interrupted. "Madison Pearson is jealous. Her father wanted your father's job for his nephew." Lily's head snapped up. "What?" William nodded. "Overheard conversations. Mr. Pearson and Harrison argued about it. Harrison almost fired your father, then changed his mind after Emily incident." "So it's true," Lily said softly. "We were saved by charity." William's fingers moved with unusual force. "Not charity, value. You saw me when no one else did. Made my parents see me too." Lily felt tears threatening again. "But what if I was wrong? What if I'd been seeing what I wanted to see because I needed this to work out?" William's response was immediate. "Test me." "What?" "Test my intelligence. Ask me questions only I would know answers to. Questions beyond my education level. Anything." Lily considered this. Okay, when I first read to you, what book was it? Matilda by Roald Dahl. Page 23 had a coffee stain. Lily blinked. There had indeed been a coffee stain from when her mother had been reading it to her years ago. What color pencil did we use for our first yes-no communication system? Red for yes. Line for yes, dot for no. Lily nodded, then thought of a harder question. In the Harry Potter book, what did you think about Snape when I asked if he was good or bad? William's device spoke, said he was complicated, both good and bad, redeemed by love for Lily. After a pause, it added, interesting coincidence with names. A chill ran down Lily's spine. She hadn't made that connection herself until weeks later. One more test, she said, something no one could have prepared you for. She thought for a moment, then pulled out her phone, bringing up a calculus problem from her advanced mathematics textbook. Material well beyond what William's tutors would have covered with him. She showed him the problem. Can you solve this? William studied it, then began typing his approach to the solution, step by step. The answer he reached matched the one in Lily's textbook perfectly. Satisfied? His device asked when he finished. Lily nodded, a strange mix of relief and lingering guilt washing over her. I'm sorry I doubted you. William's expression softened. Understand why? Hard to believe sometimes. I live inside this body that doesn't work right. Your body works exactly as it's meant to, Lily corrected gently. It's just different. William smiled, a crooked, beautiful expression that had become more frequent in recent months. His next message was simple. You're not a charity case. You're my friend. My best friend. The words filled Lily with warmth, pushing away Madison Pearson's poisonous insinuations. You're my best friend, too. Then trust that, William typed. Everything else is just noise. As Lily left the Montgomery estate that night, driven home by Harrison's chauffeur, she felt a weight lifting from her shoulders. Whatever complex circumstances had brought them together, her connection with William was real, and in the end, that was all that mattered. You've been deliberately provoking him. Dr. Sharma's voice carried through the partially open door of Harrison Montgomery's study. It's counterproductive and potentially harmful. Lily paused in the hallway, recognizing Nurse Matthews' reply. I'm simply following the testing protocol Dr. Blackwell established. If William's progress is genuine, it should be consistent regardless of environmental factors. Environmental factors? Dr. Sharma sounded incredulous. You've been moving his communication device out of reach and claiming he never asked for it. You've ignored his requests for bathroom breaks. Yesterday you told him his father was considering residential care facilities. Lily's hands curled into fists. For weeks, William had seemed increasingly anxious during the mornings before she arrived, but he'd been reluctant to explain why. I'm establishing baseline responses, Nurse Matthews said defensively. Dr. Blackwell's assessment. Dr. Blackwell was wrong, Harrison's voice cut in. And you're fired, Ms. Matthews. Security will escort you out. There was a moment of shocked silence. Then Nurse Matthews' voice again, tight with fury. You're making a terrible mistake. That girl has manipulated all of you. William's condition hasn't changed. You've just been fed a convenient fairy tale about trapped intelligence. That will be all, Harrison said coldly. Lily flattened herself against the wall as the study door swung fully open, and Nurse Matthews stormed out, face flushed with anger. She spotted Lily immediately and stopped short. Enjoy your little kingdom while it lasts, she hissed. Children like William don't get miracles. When reality catches up, you'll be back in that groundskeeper's cottage where you belong. Before Lily could respond, a security guard appeared, gesturing for Nurse Matthews to follow him to the exit. She straightened her shoulders and walked away without looking back. Harrison appeared in the doorway, expression thunderous, until he spotted Lily. Ah, Lily, I apologize you had to witness that. What happened? Lily asked, though she'd heard enough to piece it together. Harrison sighed. Ms. Matthews has been resistant to William's new care plan. Dr. Sharma discovered she's been deliberately undermining his progress, apparently to prove her own theories correct. Dr. Sharma emerged from the study, tablet in hand. Lily, good timing. William has been asking for you. As they walked toward William's wing, Dr. Sharma lowered her voice. William was very distressed this morning. Ms. Matthews told him his communication device was being evaluated for evidence of manipulation. Her expression hardened. She implied you might have programmed responses to make it appear he was communicating independently. Lily felt sick. That's horrible. Why would she do that? Professional pride, perhaps. Some medical professionals struggle to admit when they're wrong. Dr. Sharma sighed. Unfortunately, William heard enough to understand she was questioning the authenticity of his abilities. When they reached William's room, they found him with Jason, his new aide. William's face brightened visibly when he saw Lily, but there was a new wariness in his eyes that broke her heart. "Hey," she said, sitting beside his wheelchair. "I heard Ms. Matthews is gone." William's device spoke after a moment. "She didn't believe me, said I was fake." "She was wrong," Lily said firmly. "Everyone knows that now." "Not everyone." William's eyes were troubled. "Dr. Blackwell still tells people I'm severely intellectually disabled. Heard parents discussing legal action against him." Dr. Sharma interjected gently. "That's not something you need to worry about, William. Your parents are handling it." But William wasn't ready to let it go. "What if I am fake? What if Brain is playing tricks? What if I just want to communicate so badly I'm imagining responses?" The questions revealed a deeper anxiety than Lily had realized. "William, do you remember the tests we did that night I came back from the party? The calculus problem? The details about books we'd read? Those weren't imagined." "Could be coincidences," his device replied. "Could be you seeing what you want to see." Lily recognized her own doubts reflected back at her. "Is that what Ms. Matthews told you? That I'm seeing what I want to see?" William nodded, eyes filling with tears. Dr. Sharma stepped closer. "William, I've evaluated hundreds of patients with conditions similar to yours. The tests we've conducted, cognitive assessments, problem-solving tasks, memory exercises, all confirm your intelligence is fully intact." "And why can't everyone see it?" William's device asked. It was such a profound question that the room fell silent. Finally, Lily spoke. "Because it's easier not to," she said softly. "If they admit you understand everything, they have to face how they treated you before. They have to accept they were wrong." Dr. Sharma nodded. "People cling to their initial impressions. It's called confirmation bias. We see what we expect to see." William considered this, then typed, "Like Madison Pearson seeing you as charity case." Lily blinked in surprise. "You remember that conversation?" "Think about it often. People see what's easiest, not what's real." Dr. Sharma smiled. "That's a remarkably insightful observation, William." She checked her watch. "I have another appointment, but I'll be back tomorrow. We'll continue working on the speech recognition software." After she left, Jason discreetly moved to the adjoining room to give them privacy. William immediately typed, "Need your help with something important." "Ooh, what is it?" Lily asked. "Want to speak at medical conference, tell my story, show doctors they're wrong about kids like me." The request startled Lily. "A medical conference? That would be a big deal, William." Dr. Sharma mentioned it. "Panel on assistive communication next month. Parents hesitant, think it's too much pressure." "Is it?" Lily asked carefully. "It would be a lot of people watching you, judging every response." William's eyes flashed with determination. "Need to do it, for others like me, trapped without voice." Lily understood his motivation all too well. How many other children had been written off as William had been? How many were still trapped in uncooperative bodies, their intelligence unrecognized? "I'll help you," she promised. "What do you need me to do?" "Convince parents they listen to you. Think I'm too fragile." "You're the strongest person I know, William," Lily said, meaning every word. "I'll talk to them." His smile lit up his entire face. "Thank you. One more thing." "What? Can we go outside? Haven't felt sun in days." The simple request reminded Lily how constrained William's life still was, despite his progress. "Of course. Let's go sit in the garden." As Jason helped transfer William to his outdoor wheelchair, Lily noticed a notification on her phone, a text from Preston Whitmore. "Party at Abigail's tonight. Coming?" She hesitated, then typed back, "Can't. Plans with William." The response came quickly. "The Montgomery kid again. Don't you ever take a night off?" Lily glanced at William, now settled in his chair and gazing longingly toward the door. "Not a job. He's my friend. Maybe another time." As they ventured into the autumn sunshine, William's face turned upward to catch the warmth like a flower seeking light. In that moment, Lily knew she'd made the right choice. Greenwich Academy, Preston Whitmore, Madison Pearson, they were just background noise. This was where she belonged. "Read Harry Potter again?" William asked, eyes bright with anticipation. "Starting Chamber of Secrets?" "You got it," Lily smiled, pulling the book from her backpack. Chapter 1. The Worst Birthday. The medical conference in Boston loomed just 2 weeks away, and William's determination had finally won over his reluctant parents. Harrison and Elizabeth had agreed to let him speak, or rather, communicate through his device, on Dr. Sharma's panel about assistive technology. "They're terrified I'll fail," William confided to Lily as they prepared his presentation in his study. Outside, November rain lashed against the windows, turning the estate grounds into a grey blur. "They're terrified for you, not of you," Lily corrected. "There's a difference." William's device spoke, same result, overprotection. Lily couldn't entirely disagree. Despite their progress, Harrison and Elizabeth still sometimes treated William as fragile, making decisions for his own good without consulting him. "This presentation will change that," Lily assured him. "Once they see you on that stage, speaking to hundreds of doctors, they'll have to accept you're ready for more independence." William's eyes brightened with hope. "More control over my life." They worked for hours, crafting a 10-minute presentation that would showcase William's intelligence while educating medical professionals about presumed competence. It would be his debut in the public eye, a coming out of sorts for the Montgomery heir who'd been hidden away for years. As evening approached, Elizabeth appeared in the doorway. "Lily, your father just called. Apparently there's a problem at your cottage." Lily frowned. "What kind of problem?" "The storm has caused some flooding in the basement. Harrison has sent the maintenance team over, but your father asked if you could come home." "Of course." Lily gathered her things quickly, worried. The groundskeeper's cottage was old, with plumbing issues that had never been properly addressed. William's device spoke. "Will you be back tomorrow?" "First thing," Lily promised. "We'll finish the presentation then." The chauffeur drove Lily home through the torrential downpour. As they approached the cottage, Lily's heart sank. Water surrounded the small building, at least 6 inches deep in places. 3 maintenance vans were parked on the soggy lawn, and men in rain gear worked frantically to pump water away from the foundation. Inside, Lily found her father in the kitchen, looking exhausted as he mopped water from the floor. "How bad is it?" she asked, dropping her backpack on a chair. "Bad," he admitted. "The whole basement is underwater, furnaces shot. Probably the water heater too." Lily's stomach tightened. "Can they fix it?" "Not tonight." Tom Carter ran a hand through his greying hair. "Maybe not this week. The foundation has a crack we've been patching for years." This storm was the final straw. "Where will we stay?" As if in answer to her question, Harrison Montgomery's Bentley pulled up outside. He emerged in an expensive raincoat, surveying the scene with a frown before approaching the cottage. Tom answered the door, surprise evident on his face. "Mr. Montgomery, you didn't need to come out in this weather." "Nonsense! You're on my property, Tom." Harrison stepped inside, nodding politely to Lily. "I've been briefed on the situation. The cottage needs significant repairs before it's habitable again." "We can manage at a hotel for a few days," Tom said stiffly. "I appreciate your team's help with the emergency pumping." Harrison waved this away. "No need for a hotel. The East Guest Suite in the main house is being prepared for you both. You'll stay there until repairs are complete." Tom's expression tightened. "That's very generous, but—" "I insist," Harrison said, in a tone that brooked no argument. "Elizabeth is already arranging everything." Later that night, settled in a guest suite larger than their entire cottage, Lily watched her father pace the plush carpet. "This isn't right," he muttered, "living in their house, accepting their charity." "It's not charity," Lily insisted. "You work for them, Dad, and I do too. This is just a temporary solution." Tom stopped pacing. "That's what worries me, Lily. Nothing about this arrangement feels temporary anymore. Your schooling, your job with William, and now our housing, it's all dependent on the Montgomerys' goodwill." The observation hit uncomfortably close to Madison Pearson's accusations. "We earn our keep," Lily said, but even to her own ears, the defense sounded weak. "Do we?" Tom asked quietly. "Or are we becoming another project for them? Another problem to solve with their money?" Before Lily could respond, a soft knock came at their door. Elizabeth Montgomery stood in the hallway, looking uncharacteristically hesitant. "I hope you're finding everything comfortable," she said. "William is asking for you, Lily. He's having trouble sleeping and wondered if you might read to him for a while." Tom and Lily exchanged glances. "Go ahead," Tom sighed. "We'll finish this conversation tomorrow." Adon. As Lily followed Elizabeth through the darkened house, she couldn't shake her father's concerns. Were they becoming too dependent on the Montgomerys? And if so, what would happen if the family ever decided they were no longer useful? The Boston Medical Conference occupied a sprawling convention center near the harbor. Doctors, researchers, and medical technology companies filled the exhibition halls, while specialized panels ran simultaneously in smaller auditoriums throughout the complex. William sat in his wheelchair backstage, watching the audience file into the room through a gap in the curtains. His parents hovered nearby, Elizabeth fussing with his collar, Harrison checking the communication device for the 5th time. "Everything will be perfect," Harrison assured his son, though Lily could tell the reassurance was as much for himself as for William. Dr. Sharma approached, clipboard in hand. "We're on in 15 minutes. The room is nearly full." She smiled at William. "Word has gotten around about your story. There's quite a bit of interest." William's eyes widened. His device spoke. "How many people?" "About 300, Dr. Sharma replied calmly. "All eager to learn from you." Elizabeth paled slightly. 300? You said it would be a small panel." "It was supposed to be," Dr. Sharma admitted, "but several department heads from major hospitals asked to attend. William's case is significant. Significant." The word hung in the air, laden with implications. William wasn't just a boy with cerebral palsy anymore. He was a case study, a medical anomaly, a challenge to established protocols. Lily knelt beside William's wheelchair. "Nervous?" His hand trembled as he typed, terrified. "What if I freeze up? What if device fails?" "Then we'll figure it out," Lily said simply. "Together, like always." William's breathing steadied. His next message came more confidently. "Worth it, even if scared." When it was time, Dr. Sharma led them onto the stage. A hush fell over the packed auditorium as William's wheelchair was positioned at the center of the panel table. Dr. Sharma introduced him briefly, explaining his diagnosis and the communication journey of the past 6 months. Then it was William's turn. His prepared statement began to play through his device, the computerized voice carrying clearly through the speakers. "My name is William Montgomery. Until 6 months ago, doctors believed I was severely intellectually disabled. They were wrong. My mind has always been intact, but my body doesn't obey my commands. I understand everything you say about me. I have opinions, preferences, and feelings, just like you. The only difference is I needed technology to express them." The audience sat in rapt attention as William's message continued, describing his years of frustration, the breakthrough with Lily, and his rapid progress once given appropriate tools. When he finished, the room erupted in applause. The Q&A session that followed was intense. Doctors peppered William with questions, some skeptical, some genuinely curious. With each thoughtful, articulate response, William dismantled their preconceptions about children with his condition. One grey-haired neurologist stood up, frowning. "I've worked with cerebral palsy patients for 30 years. The level of cognitive function you're displaying is statistically improbable, given your initial diagnosis." William's response came quickly. "Perhaps you weren't looking for it. How many of your patients received presumed competence? How many had access to appropriate communication technology?" The doctor's frown deepened. "Are you suggesting I've missed signs of intelligence in my patients?" "Not suggesting," William's device replied, stating directly, "How many nonverbal children are dismissed because testing relies on physical responses they cannot produce?" A murmur ran through the crowd. The neurologist opened his mouth to argue, then closed it again, looking thoughtful. From the front row, Elizabeth watched with tears streaming down her face. Harrison sat beside her, rigid with emotion, gripping her hand tightly. When the session finally ended, William was surrounded by doctors eager to continue the conversation. A prominent pediatric neurologist pressed his card into Harrison's hand, offering to collaborate on research. A technology company representative wanted to discuss adapting their software based on William's experience. "Your son is remarkable," the woman told Elizabeth. "He could help change how we approach communication for thousands of children." Later, in the privacy of their hotel suite, Harrison poured himself a rare drink with shaking hands. "He was always there," he said, voice cracking. "All those years he was there, watching us talk about him as if he couldn't understand." Elizabeth sobbed quietly on the sofa. "What have we done, Harrison? What have we done to our son?" "We didn't know," Harrison whispered, though the excuse sounded hollow even to his own ears. In the adjoining room, Lily sat with William, both still processing the events of the day. "You were amazing," she told him. "You changed how those doctors will see every non-verbal patient from now on." William's response was contemplative. One small step. Many more needed. "But it's a beginning," Lily insisted. "You should be proud." William's device spoke after a thoughtful pause. Not proud of speaking, proud of being heard. The aftermath of the Boston conference transformed William's life. News of the non-verbal boy with cerebral palsy who had awakened spread through medical circles, then to educational institutions, and finally to the media. By Christmas, the Montgomerys were fielding interview requests from major networks and publications. "Absolutely not," Harrison declared, tossing another letter into the growing pile on his desk. "William is not a circus act to be paraded for public consumption." Elizabeth, sitting across from him in his study, sighed. "But some of these requests could help other children, Harrison. That pediatric journal wants to publish William's case study." "Then they can speak with Dr. Sharma," Harrison countered. "William has been through enough." From his position near the window, William cleared his throat, a sound he'd been practicing with his speech therapist. His parents turned to him in surprise. His device spoke. "My decision, not yours." Harrison frowned. "William, these people don't care about you. They care about ratings and sensationalism." "Some do," William's device acknowledged. "Choose carefully, but hiding solves nothing." Elizabeth studied her son, a new respect in her eyes. "Which interviews would you want to do if you could choose? Medical journal, yes. Educational conference, yes." William's eyes moved to his father. 60 Minutes profile. Maybe. Harrison's eyebrows shot up. 60 Minutes, that's national television, William. "Reach matters," William replied simply. "More people see, more children helped." The conversation was interrupted by a knock at the study door. Lily entered, cheeks flushed from the cold outside. "Sorry I'm late," she apologized. "Dad needed help with the Christmas lights." William brightened immediately at her arrival. His device spoke. "How's cottage renovation?" "Almost done," Lily reported, taking a seat beside his wheelchair. "The contractors say we can move back in after New Year's." The groundskeeper's cottage had been undergoing extensive renovations since the flooding incident. What had started as emergency repairs had expanded into a complete overhaul. New plumbing, updated electrical, fresh insulation, and a reinforced foundation. Harrison had insisted on the upgrades, overriding Tom Carter's protests about cost. "The renovations were long overdue," Harrison said now, noticing Lily's discomfort on the subject. "Your father has been a loyal employee for 15 years. It's the least we could do." Lily nodded, though she knew the renovations went far beyond what was necessary. The cottage would now rival many middle-class homes, with amenities the Carters had never dreamed of affording. "William was just explaining why he wants to do a 60 Minutes interview," Elizabeth said, changing the subject. "Really?" Lily turned to William with surprise. His device spoke. "Platform to help others. Show what's possible." "It would be a lot of pressure," Lily cautioned. "The whole country watching." "Already feel pressure," William replied. "Every day. Might as well use it for something good." Harrison rubbed his temples, recognizing the determination in his son's expression. "We'll consider it, but I have conditions. Pre-approved questions, final editing rights, and absolutely no filming at Greenwich Academy." William's face lit up. "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet," Harrison warned. "I haven't agreed to anything. We'll discuss this after the holidays." As the meeting concluded, William asked Lily to take him to the kitchen. Mrs. Abernathy, the family's longtime cook, had promised to let him observe her Christmas cookie preparations. With Jason's help, they navigated the wheelchair through the house. "Are you really okay with being on television?" Lily asked when they were alone in the elevator. William's response was measured. "Scared, but determined. Story needs telling." "Your story," Lily emphasized, "not just a medical miracle narrative." "Exactly." William's eyes grew serious. "Need your help. Want to write script myself. No PR team, no ghostwriter." "Of course," Lily agreed immediately. "But are you sure your parents will agree to that?" "Working on it," William replied, a glint of mischief in his expression. "Have leverage now." "Leverage?" "Boston doctors impressed. One offered experimental treatment, might improve motor control." Lily gasped. "William, that's incredible. Have you told your parents?" "Not yet. Waiting for right moment." His device paused, then added, "Want independence first, treatment second." Lily understood his strategy immediately. Harrison and Elizabeth would do anything for a treatment that might help William's physical condition. If William conditioned his participation on having more control over his own story, they'd have to agree. "You're getting pretty good at negotiation," Lily observed with a smile. William's response was unapologetic. "Learning from father. Montgomery family specialty." As they reached the kitchen, filled with the warm scents of vanilla and cinnamon, Lily couldn't help wondering if William was outgrowing her. His world was expanding rapidly. Medical consultations, media interest, new therapeutic possibilities. How long before he no longer needed a groundskeeper's daughter as his communication partner? Mrs. Abernathy greeted them warmly, setting up a special workspace where William could watch the cookie decorating process. As she demonstrated piping techniques, William's eyes followed with intense concentration. "Want to try?" Mrs. Abernathy offered, preparing a piping bag with a special handle adapted for William's limited grasp. With painstaking effort, William squeezed the bag, creating a wobbly but recognizable star on a sugar cookie. His face glowed with accomplishment. "First Christmas decoration ever made myself," his device announced proudly. Lily took a photo of the cookie, her earlier worries momentarily forgotten in the simple joy of the moment. Whatever the future held right now, they were just two friends making Christmas cookies. And somehow that seemed more important than all the media attention in the world. The 60-minute segment aired in February, captivating millions of viewers with William's story. Under the title, "The Boy Who Found His Voice," the 12-minute feature presented William's journey alongside interviews with Dr. Sharma and the Montgomerys. As William had insisted, the piece focused not just on his miracle awakening, but on the broader implications for other non-verbal children. "We believe thousands of children may be in similar situations," William's device stated during the climactic moment of the interview. "Intelligent minds trapped in uncooperative bodies, waiting for someone to presume their competence." The response was immediate and overwhelming. The Montgomery household received hundreds of letters from families with disabled children, all asking the same question: could their child be like William? Harrison hired a team just to manage the correspondence, ensuring each family received information about assessment resources and communication technologies. Elizabeth established a foundation to provide grants for assistive devices to families who couldn't afford them. William, meanwhile, continued his own remarkable progress. The experimental treatment mentioned by the Boston specialist, a combination of targeted physical therapy and neurostimulation, had shown promising results. With intensive daily sessions, William had gained increased control over his right hand and some facial muscles, allowing for more expressive communication, but not everything was improving. As winter melted into spring, Lily noticed a growing distance between herself and William. Their afternoon sessions, once filled with reading and conversation, were increasingly interrupted by specialists, interviews, or foundation business. "William has a video call with Johns Hopkins at 4, Elizabeth would inform Lily apologetically. "Perhaps you could use the time to work on your own schoolwork." Or, "The documentary crew needs another hour with William. Would you mind waiting in the library?" Lily tried not to feel resentful. William's expanding world was a good thing, the very outcome they'd both worked toward. But she couldn't help missing the days when it had been just the two of them, figuring out communication systems with colored pencils and paper. One April afternoon, Lily arrived at the Montgomery estate to find William's wing unusually busy. Staff members hurried about with clipboards, while unfamiliar voices came from his study. "What's going on?" Lily asked Jason, who stood outside William's door. "College representatives," he explained. "Harvard, Yale, Princeton, all interested in William's application." "College?" Lily repeated, stunned. "But he's only 6. 7 now," Jason corrected. "His birthday was last week." The casual mention felt like a slap. William's birthday had passed without Lily even knowing. When had they become so disconnected that she'd missed something so important? "Was there a party?" she asked, trying to keep her voice steady. "Small family celebration?" Jason said with a shrug. "Very private." Lily nodded, fighting back an irrational surge of hurt. Of course the Montgomerys would celebrate as a family. She wasn't family, just an employee, a well-paid communication partner who was becoming increasingly unnecessary as William mastered independent device use. When William finally emerged from his meeting, his face lit up at the sight of Lily, somewhat easing her doubts. His device spoke immediately. "Sorry for wait. College people talk forever." "College people?" Lily raised an eyebrow. "Isn't that a little premature?" William's response was amused. "Exactly what I said. Mother pushing early applications. Legacy admission important to her." "But you're 7, Lily pointed out. 8 years until college," William agreed. "Told them come back when I'm 15. Have more important things now." Curious, Lily followed him into his bedroom, now serving as a secondary therapy space with various equipment arranged along one wall. "Like what?" William's eyes shone with excitement as he typed, "Walking project. New exoskeleton from MIT robotics lab. Testing prototype." He gestured toward what Lily had assumed was new medical equipment. Looking closer, she recognized the components of a pediatric exoskeleton, a robotic support system that might allow William to stand and eventually walk with assistance. "That's amazing," Lily said sincerely. "When do you start testing it?" "Next week. Engineers arriving Monday." William's expression grew serious. "Want you there?" Important moment. The request washed away some of Lily's earlier insecurity. "Of course, I wouldn't miss it." William began to type something else, then hesitated, erasing it. His brow furrowed in the way it did when he was debating how to express something difficult. "What is it?" Lily prompted. After another moment of hesitation, William typed, "Missed you. Too many strangers lately. Not enough Lily time." The simple admission brought a lump to Lily's throat. "I've missed you too." William's next message came slowly, deliberately. Everything changing so fast, sometimes scary. "Need my best friend more than ever." "I'm right here," Lily assured him, settling into their familiar reading chair. "I'm not going anywhere." But even as she said it, she wondered if it was a promise she could keep. The groundskeeper's cottage renovations were complete, removing the Carters from the main house. Greenwich Academy was demanding more of her time with advanced placement courses. And William's world continued to expand in directions she couldn't follow. Medical treatments, foundation work, academic acceleration. William seemed to sense her uncertainty. His device spoke again. "Promise something?" "Anything," Lily replied automatically. "No matter what happens, college interviews, walking machines, foundation work, always be honest with me. Tell me if I'm being Montgomery instead of William." The distinction touched Lily deeply. William had always been sensitive about being defined by his family name rather than his individual personhood. That he trusted her to keep him grounded meant everything. "I promise," she said solemnly. "Montgomery or William, I'll always tell you the truth." William's face relaxed into a smile. "Good. Now read Harry Potter." Starting Goblet of Fire. For the next 2 hours, they escaped into the familiar comfort of Hogwarts, pushing aside college representatives and walking machines and growing responsibilities. For those precious hours, they were just William and Lily again, best friends sharing a story. The summer William turned 8 marked a turning point. After months of intensive therapy with the MIT exoskeleton, he achieved what doctors had once deemed impossible. He took 6 steps across his bedroom, supported by the robotic frame, but moving under his own power. Harrison recorded the moment, tears streaming unashamedly down his face as his son's jerky but determined progress was met with applause from the assembled medical team. Elizabeth sobbed openly, one hand pressed to her mouth. Even Jason, normally stoic, blinked rapidly against unexpected emotion. Lily, standing at the finish line of their makeshift walking course, held out her hands as William approached, his face contorted with effort, sweat beading on his forehead as he focused on each movement. "You're doing it," she encouraged. "Just 2 more steps." When he finally reached her, collapsing forward as the exoskeleton locked to prevent a fall, William's face held an expression of pure triumph. His communication device, mounted to the exoskeleton's chest plate, spoke in its familiar computerized voice. "Told you I would walk to you someday." The achievement made national news, with medical journals hailing the successful integration of the exoskeleton technology as a breakthrough for children with severe motor impairments. William became the poster child for the project, his success opening doors for other children to access the experimental technology. For Lily, now 12, the summer held different challenges. Greenwich Academy's advanced placement track demanded summer coursework if she wanted to maintain her accelerated standing. Her father, while proud of her academic success, worried increasingly about their continuing dependence on the Montgomerys. "I've been offered a position at Westfield Country Club," Tom told her one evening over dinner in their beautifully renovated cottage. "Head groundskeeper, better pay, staff housing included." Lily set down her fork, stunned. "You'd leave the Montgomerys after 16 years? Tom sighed. "It's because it's been 16 years that I'm considering it, Lily. We've become too comfortable in their orbit, too dependent." "I have to stay," Lily said immediately, "for William. William has a full medical team now, plus the foundation staff. He doesn't need a communication partner the way he once did." The observation, though accurate, stung. "He's still my best friend." "And he always will be," Tom assured her. "But you're growing up, Lily. You both are. Your worlds are going to expand in different directions. That's natural." "There's nothing natural about our situation," Lily muttered. Tom reached across the table to take her hand. "That's my point. The Montgomerys have been incredibly generous. The school, the job, this house, we owe them so much. But at some point, we need to stand on our own." The conversation left Lily troubled. The next day, she arrived at the Montgomery estate earlier than usual, hoping to speak with William before his morning therapy session. She found him in his study, already working with Dr. Sharma on cognitive assessments. "Lily!" William's face brightened. "You're early." Dr. Sharma smiled warmly. "Perfect timing. We could use a familiar presence for this next exercise. It's about emotional recognition." For the next hour, Lily participated in William's assessment, helping Dr. Sharma evaluate his ability to recognize and respond to emotional cues. His progress was remarkable, not just in communication, but in expressiveness. The treatment that had improved his motor control had also given him greater facial mobility, allowing for more nuanced expressions. When they finished, Dr. Sharma packed up her materials. "Excellent work today, William. Your emotional intelligence scores are well above average for your age group." After she left, Lily turned to William with the news weighing on her mind. "My dad's been offered another job at Westfield Country Club." William's expression fell. His device spoke after a long pause. "Will you go with him?" "I don't know," Lily admitted. "He thinks we've become too dependent on your family." William considered this. He's not wrong. Money creates power imbalance. The mature observation, coming from an 8-year-old, reminded Lily yet again how extraordinary William was. "But you still need me, right?" William's response was careful, measured. "Always need my friend, but maybe not my communication partner, not professionally." The distinction hurt more than Lily had expected. "So you think I should go?" "No." William's response was immediate. "Selfish part of me wants you to stay forever, but fair part knows your father has a point." Lily slumped in her chair. "I don't know what to do." William typed slowly, thoughtfully. "What if compromise? Dad takes new job. You stay at Greenwich Academy, living with us during week, home on weekends." "Like boarding at the Montgomerys?" Lily frowned. "My dad would never agree to that. He already thinks we're too entangled with your family." then different solution. William's brow furrowed in concentration. Foundation creating scholarship program for students working with disabled children. Merit-based, not charity. Lily straightened. A scholarship? Your work with me created framework for training program. Other children need communication partners too. William's eyes met hers directly. You could train them, be paid for expertise, not charity. The idea was appealing, a way to continue her connection with William while expanding her role beyond their one-on-one dynamic. It would transform their relationship from employer-employee to something more like colleagues. I'd still be working for your family, Lily pointed out. For foundation, William corrected. Independent from family finances. Professional relationship. As William outlined the potential program, Lily recognized the careful thought he'd put into the idea. He wasn't just creating a position to keep her close. He was offering her a legitimate career path, building on the skills she'd developed with him. I'll talk to my dad about it, she promised. No guarantees, but it might work. William's face relaxed into a smile. Hope so. Miss you already and you haven't even left. The simple admission reminded Lily of what truly mattered. Not the financial arrangements or professional boundaries, but the genuine connection they'd forged against all odds. Whatever happens with jobs and scholarships, she said, we'll always be friends. That doesn't change just because circumstances do. William nodded, but something in his expression suggested he understood, better than most adults, how easily relationships could be strained by changing circumstances. He'd spent years watching people from his wheelchair, observing human behavior without being able to participate. That experience had given him an unusual wisdom about the fragility of connections. Promise to visit, even if move away? I promise, Lily said firmly. Wild horses couldn't keep me away. Tom Carter accepted the position at Westfield Country Club. The decision, though difficult, was made easier by the Montgomery Foundation's offer of a formal scholarship for Lily, covering not just Greenwich Academy tuition, but a paid internship training communication partners for other non-verbal children. The arrangement satisfied Tom's need for independence while maintaining Lily's connection to the school and to William. She would live primarily with her father in the staff housing at Westfield, 40 minutes away from Greenwich, and stay with the Montgomerys 2 nights a week for her foundation work. It's the best of both worlds, Elizabeth assured Tom during the final negotiations. Lily maintains her educational trajectory while you pursue a well-deserved career advancement. If Elizabeth was disappointed by Tom's departure after 16 years of service, she hid it well. Harrison, more transparent in his emotions, had been visibly upset but eventually accepted Tom's decision with grudging respect. You've been an asset to this estate, Tom, he said during their final meeting. Your work ethic and loyalty will be difficult to replace. For William, the transition was more complicated. Though he supported Lily's new arrangement intellectually, the emotional reality of her reduced presence hit him harder than expected. Not the same, he confessed during their first weekend session under the new schedule. House feels empty without Carter's. Lily, now 13 and increasingly aware of the complex dynamics between their families, tried to focus on the positive aspects. But we still have our time together, and now you're working with other communication partners too. This was true. The foundation had begun matching non-verbal children with trained partners using the techniques Lily and William had pioneered. William participated actively in the training program, demonstrating communication methods and sharing his perspective on what had worked for him. Different relationship, William's device spoke. They're students. Your friend. The distinction warmed Lily's heart. Despite all the changes, their core connection remained. As autumn progressed, William's physical therapy continued to yield impressive results. The exoskeleton, now customized to his growing body, allowed him to walk short distances with increasing confidence. His right hand gained enough dexterity to operate a joystick control for his wheelchair, giving him mobility independence for the first time in his life. "Watch this," he demonstrated proudly during one of Lily's visits, navigating his chair through a complex obstacle course set up in the mansion's great hall. "That's amazing, William," Lily exclaimed, genuinely impressed. "You're getting so good at the controls." William beamed, his face more expressive than ever thanks to the continuing neurostimulation therapy. His device spoke, "Freedom. Go anywhere without asking for push." The significance wasn't lost on Lily. Every small increase in independence represented a massive quality-of-life improvement for William. The boy, who had once been unable to communicate his most basic needs, was now directing his own movement, expressing complex thoughts, and helping shape foundation policy for other children like himself. Yet with these triumphs came new challenges. William's academic acceleration had placed him in a unique educational position. Chronologically 8 years old, but intellectually engaging with material at a high school level. Greenwich Academy's administrators struggled to create an appropriate curriculum, eventually settling on a hybrid model where William attended certain classes with older students while maintaining social connections with his age group. "How is it going with the 9th grade math class?" Lily asked during their Saturday session. William's expression turned complicated. "Mixed. Understand material perfectly. Social dynamics. Difficult." "Difficult how?" "They see Montgomery, not William," he explained, "either intimidated by father's money or fascinated by Miracle Boy's story. No normal interactions." Lily understood all too well. Her own experience at Greenwich had improved but never fully normalized. She remained the scholarship girl, or William's assistant, to many of her classmates despite her academic achievements. "People fear difference," William added thoughtfully. "My wheelchair, your background, easier to reduce us to simple stories." "When did you get so wise?" Lily teased, though the observation struck her as remarkably astute for a child his age. William's response held a touch of melancholy. "Watching world from wheelchair for years, see patterns others miss." Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of Elizabeth, elegantly dressed for an evening event. "Lily, dear, will you be staying for dinner? We're having a small gathering for foundation donors." "No, thank you," Lily declined politely. "Dad's picking me up at 6. He has tickets for a movie tonight." Elizabeth nodded, hiding any disappointment. "Of course, family time is important." She turned to William. "Remember, the donors will want to meet you briefly before dessert. Jason will bring you down at 8. After she left, William's device spoke. "Stay for movie tomorrow instead? New Harry Potter released." "Definitely," Lily agreed. "I wouldn't miss it." As they returned to their work, Lily's advanced English essay and William's cognitive science reading, a comfortable silence fell between them. Despite the changed circumstances, despite the growing complexities of their respective lives, these quiet moments of shared concentration remained a constant. Later, as Lily gathered her things to leave, William's device spoke again. "Ever wonder what would have happened if you hadn't understood me that day?" The question caught Lily off guard. "You mean at the pool? With Emily?" William nodded. "Entire lives changed in that moment. Yours, mine, everything different because you listened." Lily considered the alternate reality, one where she hadn't approached William's wheelchair, hadn't recognized his desperate attempts to communicate. Where would they all be now? William still trapped in silence. The Carters still struggling financially. Emily perhaps not even alive. "I try not to think about it," she admitted. "It's too scary." William's eyes held a wisdom far beyond his years. "Think about it sometimes. Reminds me how fragile everything is, how lucky we got." As Tom Carter's car pulled into the Montgomery driveway, Lily leaned down to hug William goodbye. a gesture that had become natural as his physical therapy improved his ability to reciprocate. "See you tomorrow for Harry Potter," she promised. William nodded, his crooked smile bright with anticipation. Tomorrow. But as Lily walked away, she couldn't shake William's question. How easily their paths might have diverged. How many other Williams were out there still waiting for someone to truly see them? By the time William turned 10, the Montgomery Foundation had expanded its reach across the country. What had begun as a small family initiative now employed 30 full-time staff members and had helped over 300 non-verbal children access appropriate communication technology. Elizabeth had stepped away from her society obligations to serve as the Foundation's executive director, while Harrison provided financial oversight alongside his banking responsibilities. For Lily, now 15, the Foundation offered increasing opportunities. What had started as a part-time internship had evolved into a specialized role developing training protocols for communication partners. Her methods, based on her original work with William, became the Foundation's standard curriculum. "We need to document everything," Dr. Sharma insisted during a strategy meeting. The Lily-William protocol, as we're calling it, shows consistently better results than traditional AAC introduction methods. William, sitting beside Lily in the conference room, typed rapidly on his latest communication device, a sleek tablet with eye-tracking technology that allowed for near-conversational speech production. "Protocol needs Lily's name first," his device announced. "She did the hard part." Dr. Sharma smiled. "William Lily doesn't have the same ring to it, I'm afraid, but point taken, we'll make sure the documentation acknowledges Lily's primary role." Ooh, the formal recognition of her contribution filled Lily with pride, though she still sometimes felt like an imposter among the medical professionals and specialists who now populated William's world. Despite her practical experience, she lacked the advanced degrees and credentials that others brought to the Foundation. "You should consider medical school," Harrison suggested one evening as they reviewed the latest training materials. "The Foundation would cover your education completely, of course." The offer was tempting. Lily had already begun researching pre-med programs, drawn to the intersection of communication technology and neurology that had transformed William's life. "I'm still figuring out my options," she told Harrison carefully. Her father's warnings about becoming too dependent on the Montgomerys still echoed in her mind, even 3 years after they'd moved to Westfield. William, who had been silently observing the exchange, interjected, "Lily makes her own decisions. No pressure." Harrison raised an eyebrow at his son's protective tone, but nodded. "Of course. Just an option to consider, Lily." Later, alone in William's study, Lily brought up the interaction. "You didn't have to defend me, you know. I can handle your dad." William's expression turned sheepish. "Sorry. Sensitive about family offering money. Know how it complicates things." "It does," Lily agreed, "but medical school is expensive. If I decide that's what I want, then accept help," William finished, "but for right reasons, not obligation." His perception always surprised her. Despite the age gap between them, William now 10, Lily 15, he often seemed like the wiser one in their friendship. Years of silent observation had given him insights into human motivation that most children his age couldn't begin to grasp. "Speaking of complicated," Lily said, changing the subject, "Preston Whitmore asked me to winter formal." William's eyebrows shot up. His device spoke after a slight pause. "The same Preston who called me the disabled kid when you first started at Greenwich. He's changed," Lily defended, though not very convincingly. "Everyone has." William looked skeptical. "Have they? Or just better at hiding prejudice?" "That's cynical, even for you," Lily noted. "Not everyone has ulterior motives." "Preston Whitmore does," William replied immediately. Heard him talking at Foundation Gala. Interested because you're Montgomery adjacent now. The term stung. Montgomery adjacent? His words, not mine, William clarified. Status thing. You have influence with my family. Makes you valuable social connection. Lily's face flushed with anger and embarrassment. That's ridiculous. I'm just communications director for major foundation at 15, personal friend of Montgomery Air, academic standout at Greenwich. William interrupted. Not just anything anymore, Lily. The observation left Lily speechless. When had her life transformed so dramatically? When had she gone from the invisible groundskeeper's daughter to someone Preston Whitmore would pursue for status? I don't feel different, she said finally. William's response was gentle. You are, though. We both are. Money and visibility change how world sees us, not how we see each other. The clarification comforted her. Whatever else had changed, their friendship remained the constant center around which everything else revolved. So you think I should say no to Preston? She asked. William's device spoke after thoughtful consideration. Think you should understand why he's asking, then decide for yourself. It wasn't the simple advice Lily had expected, but it reflected William's growing maturity, his understanding that the best guidance came not from telling others what to do, but helping them see situations clearly enough to make their own decisions. Their conversation shifted to the Foundation's upcoming expansion plans. William had been advocating for a research partnership with MIT's robotics lab, hoping to make the exoskeleton technology more widely available to children with mobility impairments. Cost is biggest barrier, he explained, pulling up budget projections on his computer. Current units too expensive for most families. Need mass production to lower price point. As they worked through the technical and financial challenges, Lily marveled at how far they'd come from colored pencils and paper communication boards. William now managed complex spreadsheets, wrote persuasive policy proposals, and negotiated with research institutions, all before his 11th birthday. Sometimes I forget how extraordinary you are, Lily said when they finally took a break. William shook his head. Not extraordinary. Just had right tools and right people. His eyes met hers meaningfully. Right friend who saw me when others didn't. The simple acknowledgement brought a lump to Lily's throat. We saw each other, she corrected, when no one else did. As their afternoon session concluded, William made one final comment about Preston Whitmore. For what it's worth, think you deserve better. Someone who sees Lily, not Montgomery connection. Lily smiled. I turned him down already, just wanted your reaction. William's face broke into a grin. Manipulative. I've taught you well. Their laughter echoed through the study, a reminder that beneath the foundation work, the medical breakthroughs and the social complications, they were still just William and Lily, friends who had found each other when they needed it most. The annual Montgomery Foundation Gala transformed the estate's grounds into a fairy tale landscape of twinkling lights and elegant pavilions. 5 years after its founding, the gala had become one of the premier charity events in Connecticut, attracting wealthy donors, medical pioneers, and the occasional celebrity advocate. William, now 11, held court in the main tent, his exoskeleton allowing him to stand for short periods as he greeted guests alongside his parents. The latest version of the device, sleeker and more responsive than earlier models, had been custom designed by MIT's robotics team with William's input. The goal isn't just mobility, he explained to an interested neurosurgeon, his voice synthesizer now programmed with inflections that mimicked natural speech patterns. It's independence. Each upgrade brings me closer to managing daily activities without assistance. Lily, stunning in a midnight blue gown provided by Elizabeth for the occasion, watched from nearby with a mixture of pride and melancholy. In the 5 years since she'd first approached William's wheelchair, he had transformed from a silenced, isolated child into a poised young advocate capable of directing conversations with world-renowned medical professionals. "He's remarkable," Dr. Sharma said, appearing at Lily's side with champagne flutes of sparkling cider. "And much of that is thanks to you." Lily accepted the drink with a smile. "He was always remarkable. I just helped everyone else see it." "Don't underestimate your contribution," Dr. Sharma insisted. "The William-Lily Protocol has revolutionized how we approach communication assessment for non-verbal children. 23 research papers this year alone, citing your methodology." The validation was gratifying, but Lily couldn't shake a growing sense of unease. At 16, she stood at a crossroads. College applications loomed, with Harrison continuing to push for pre-med programs, while her father urged her to consider state schools that wouldn't leave her indebted, financially or otherwise, to the Montgomerys. "Penny, for your thoughts?" Elizabeth asked, joining their conversation. In her early 40s now, Elizabeth had grown into her role as foundation director with unexpected passion, transforming from society wife to respected non-profit leader. "Just thinking about college applications," Lily admitted. "The deadlines are coming up fast," Elizabeth nodded sympathetically. "Harrison mentioned you're considering neuroscience at Johns Hopkins, an excellent choice." "Among others," Lily said carefully, "I'm still exploring options." "Whatever you decide, the foundation scholarship remains available," Elizabeth assured her. "We want to support your education, regardless of where you choose to study." The generosity was genuine, Lily knew, but it came with implicit expectations that she would eventually return to the foundation, applying her education to advance their mission. The path was clear, prestigious, and secure. So why did she feel increasingly restless when she contemplated it? Across the tent, William concluded his conversation with the neurosurgeon and scanned the crowd until he spotted Lily. His face brightened, and he navigated his exoskeleton carefully in her direction. "Escaping medical talk," his device announced as he reached them. "Too many questions about brain scans. Boring." Elizabeth laughed. "Those brain scans funded your walking machine, young man." "Still boring," William insisted with the characteristic bluntness of pre-adolescence. "Lily, come see New Rose Garden. Need fresh air." The request offered a welcome escape from the crowded tent. With Jason following discreetly behind, they made their way to the recently completed Rose Garden, a project Elizabeth had undertaken to create an accessible outdoor space where William could practice with his exoskeleton. "Better," William sighed once they were away from the noise and scrutiny. "Hate being exhibition piece at these events." "You seem to be handling it well," Lily observed. William's expression turned sardonic. "Years of practice, Montgomery training, smile and perform." The cynicism surprised Lily. "Is it really that bad?" William considered the question seriously. "Not bad, just exhausting. Everyone wants miracle story, happy ending. Don't want to hear about daily challenges, frustrations." "Like what?" Lily asked. Though they still spent time together regularly, their once constant companionship had necessarily evolved as they grew older, and their responsibilities increased. William gestured for them to sit on a bench designed to accommodate his exoskeleton. Once settled, he typed more freely than he had inside. School still difficult socially, academically fine, taking some high school courses now. But classmates uncomfortable, teachers too, never just normal kid. Lily nodded, understanding all too well. "I still get that sometimes at Greenwich. The scholarship girl, the Montgomery connection." "Exactly, always defined by circumstances, not personality." William paused, then added, "Miss when it was just us, reading books, figuring out communication, before foundation and galas and medical papers." The admission resonated deeply with Lily's own feelings. Me too. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment, watching the stars emerge above the garden. Then William asked, "What's wrong with college applications? Noticed your expression earlier." Lily sighed, not surprised he'd picked up on her unease. "I'm not sure what I want. Everyone has expectations. Your parents, my dad, the foundation. But what if my path is somewhere else entirely?" "Like where?" William prompted. "I don't know," Lily admitted. "Maybe journalism. I've been writing for the school paper this year, covering science and technology. Or education policy, or—" She trailed off, uncertain. William nodded thoughtfully. "Not medicine. A medicine feels like the expected path, the one that ties me permanently to the foundation." Lily looked down at her hands. "Is that ungrateful, after everything your family has done?" William's response was immediate and firm. "Not ungrateful, honest. You didn't sign lifetime contract by helping me. Deserve your own dreams." The simple permission to want something different, to choose her own path, brought unexpected tears to Lily's eyes. "What if that path takes me away from here? From you and the foundation?" William's expression softened. "Then we adapt. Like always. Still friends. Whatever happens." As Jason approached to remind them of their duties at the gala, William made one final comment. "Apply to schools you actually want, not what others expect. Life too short for other people's dreams." Coming from an 11-year-old who had spent years fighting for the simplest forms of self-determination, the advice carried particular weight. Lily squeezed his hand gently, grateful yet again for the wisdom that seemed to flow from this extraordinary boy. "When did you get so smart about life choices?" she teased as they made their way back to the party. William's device produced what had become his signature chuckle, a sound engineered to match his facial expression when amused. "Learned from best friend," he replied simply. "She taught me to speak up for what I want. Now, returning favor." The acceptance letter from Columbia University's School of Journalism arrived on a bright April morning during Lily's senior year. The prestigious program, with its emphasis on science and medical reporting, represented a compromise between her emerging passion for journalism and her commitment to disability advocacy. "Columbia," her father repeated, studying the financial aid package with cautious optimism. "New York City is expensive, Lily." "The Montgomery Scholarship covers tuition and housing," Lily reminded him, "and I can work part-time at the Foundation's New York office." Tom sighed, running a hand through his now salt and pepper hair. "I know I should be thrilled about Columbia, and I am. It's just—" "You're still worried about the Montgomery connection," Lily finished for him. At 17, she understood her father's concerns better than she had as a child. The power imbalance between their families had shaped her entire adolescence, creating complex dynamics of gratitude, obligation, and occasional resentment. "I want you to succeed on your own terms," Tom said finally, "not as an extension of the Montgomery family." "I will," Lily promised. "This is my choice, Dad. My future." Later that day, Lily drove to the Montgomery estate to share her news. In the 6 years since she'd first met William, she had graduated from passenger to licensed driver, now navigating the familiar roads between Westfield and Greenwich with easy confidence. William waited for her in the garden, his latest exoskeleton allowing him to stand independently beside the rose bushes he'd helped design. At 12, he was entering early adolescence, his face losing its childish roundness, his voice synthesizer recently adjusted to a slightly deeper tone to match his age progression. "Columbia?" He guessed immediately, reading her expression as she approached. "Got the letter today?" Lily laughed. "How do you always know?" "Face gives everything away," William replied with a grin. "Terrible poker player." They celebrated with sparkling cider in the garden gazebo, discussing Lily's plans for the fall and William's upcoming presentation at a TED conference, his first major public speaking engagement without his parents or medical professionals sharing the stage. "Nervous?" Lily asked. "Terrified," William admitted. 15 minutes alone on stage. What if exoskeleton malfunctions? What if device crashes? "Then you'll handle it," Lily said confidently. "You always do." As afternoon faded into evening, their conversation turned to the future. Lily's move to New York, William's accelerating academic program, the Foundation's expanding reach. The Montgomery Foundation now served over 1,000 children across the country, with international partnerships developing in Europe and Asia. "Everything's changing again," William observed, watching the sunset paint the garden in golden light, like when you first moved to Westfield. "Change is good," Lily reminded him. "Look how far we've both come." William nodded, but something in his expression remained troubled. After a moment of hesitation, his device spoke again. "Need to tell you something important. Medical news." Lily straightened, immediately alert. "What's wrong?" "Not wrong exactly. Experimental procedure. Boston specialists developing new neural interface. Could significantly improve motor function." "William, that's amazing," Lily exclaimed. "High risk," he continued. "Brain surgery involved. Lengthy recovery. Scheduled for June, right after your graduation." Lily felt a chill despite the warm evening. "Brain surgery? That sounds serious. What do your parents say?" "Divided. Father concerned about risks, mother focused on potential benefits." William's eyes met hers directly. "Want your opinion, as friend, not Foundation employee." The distinction touched Lily deeply. After years of professional involvement with the Foundation, it was easy to forget that her relationship with William had begun as something much simpler. Two children seeing each other when no one else did. "I think," she said carefully, "that you need to weigh quality against quantity. If this procedure could give you more independence, more ability to express yourself physically, that might be worth the risks." William nodded thoughtfully. "My thinking exactly. Life not about safety, about fullness." "Have you made your decision then?" "Yes. Doing procedure." William's expression turned vulnerable. Scared though, really scared. Lily moved closer, taking his hand. "I would be too. But you've faced scarier things and come through them. Remember when you couldn't communicate at all? When everyone thought you couldn't understand? This is just another barrier to break through." William squeezed her hand with the limited strength his therapy had developed. "Will you be there, after surgery, before you leave for New York?" "Of course," Lily promised without hesitation. "I'll stay as long as you need me." The relief in William's eyes was palpable. One more adventure together, before next chapter begins. As dusk settled over the garden, they sat in companionable silence, each contemplating the changes ahead. Lily thought about the frightened 6-year-old in a wheelchair she'd met years ago, screaming to be heard. How impossible it would have seemed then that he would one day stand beside her, making his own medical decisions, preparing for a national speaking engagement, accelerating through academic achievements that left his doctors astounded. "Do you ever wonder," she asked suddenly, "what you'll be like at my age, when you're 17? William's device chuckled. "Think about it often. College applications, driving lessons, normal teenage milestones." "You'll get there," Lily said with certainty. "Probably faster than anyone expects." William's expression turned thoughtful. "Hope so. But also hope I remember what matters. People, not achievements. Connection, not accolades." "The Montgomery wisdom showing again," Lily teased. William shook his head firmly. "Not Montgomery, William Wisdom. Big difference." As stars appeared in the darkening sky, their conversation meandered through memories and possibilities, hopes and fears. Whatever the future held, Columbia for Lily, Experimental surgery for William, new chapters unfolding for them both. The bond forged years ago beside a swimming pool remained unbreakable. "We should go inside," Lily said eventually, noticing William's increasing fatigue. The exoskeleton demanded significant energy to operate, and he was still building stamina. William nodded, but made one final comment before they turned toward the house. "No matter what happens with surgery, with New York, with everything, promise we won't lose this. Us." "I promise," Lily said, meaning it with every fiber of her being. Some things don't change, even when everything else does. 6 months after William's neural interface surgery, Lily returned to Connecticut for Thanksgiving break, her first visit home since starting at Columbia. The fall semester had been a whirlwind of journalism classes, dormitory adjustments, and weekend work at the Foundation's Manhattan office. Though she and William had maintained regular video calls, seeing him in person after months away felt momentous. The Montgomery estate was decorated for the holiday, elegant arrangements of autumn foliage and pumpkins lining the driveway as Lily's car approached. Harrison and Elizabeth had invited the Carters to join them for Thanksgiving dinner, an invitation Tom had accepted with surprising enthusiasm, his former reservations about the Montgomerys softened by time and distance. Lily found William in the music room, his fingers moving tentatively across piano keys. The neural interface surgery had exceeded even the specialist's optimistic projections. After months of intensive rehabilitation, William had gained unprecedented fine motor control, particularly in his hands and facial muscles. "That sounds beautiful," Lily said from the doorway. William turned, his face lighting up with genuine pleasure, an expression that would have been impossible before the surgery. "Lily!" he exclaimed, his voice no longer computerized but his own, raspy from disuse but distinctly human. The vocal therapy that had followed his surgery represented perhaps the most profound change. Though still limited in range and clarity, William could now produce simple sentences without technological assistance, a development that had left his speech therapists astounded and his parents overwhelmed with emotion. Lily crossed the room to embrace him, noticing how he stood from the piano bench with only minimal support from his sleeker, less obtrusive exoskeleton. At 13, William was growing taller, his childish features giving way to hints of the young man he would become. "The piano is new," Lily observed, sitting beside him on the bench. "Started lessons 3 months ago," William said carefully, each word requiring concentration but emerging clearly. Hard but satisfying. For more complex communication, he still relied on his tablet, which now functioned as a supplementary tool rather than his primary voice. He reached for it now. "Speech still tires me after few sentences, but improving weekly." "It's incredible, William," Lily said, genuinely awed by his progress. "Your voice sounds just like I imagined it would." William smiled, a natural, symmetrical expression that the neural interface had made possible. Using his tablet, he asked, "How's Columbia? Real version, not sanitized for parents version." Lily laughed. "Challenging, exciting, occasionally overwhelming." She described her journalism classes, her tiny dorm room, the Foundation's Manhattan office where she worked weekends documenting success stories for their fundraising campaigns. "Making friends?" William inquired, with the perceptiveness that had always characterized their relationship. "Some," Lily acknowledged. "My roommate's great. She's pre-med at Barnard, and there's a study group for my investigative journalism class that gets together pretty regularly." "Dating anyone?" William asked, the question casual, but his eyes watchful. Lily felt a flush of surprise at the direct inquiry. No time for that between classes, foundation work, and trying to navigate subway schedules. William nodded, something like relief flickering across his increasingly expressive face. Using his voice again, he said simply, "Missed you." "I've missed you too," Lily replied sincerely. "Video calls aren't the same." They spent the afternoon catching up properly, William demonstrating his expanding piano repertoire, Lily sharing stories of New York adventures. The foundation continued to thrive, with William taking on more direct involvement in program development despite his young age. His TED Talk had gone viral, bringing unprecedented attention to presumed competence approaches for non-verbal children. As evening approached, the rest of their families arrived. Tom Carter, now comfortably established as Westfield's head groundskeeper, greeted the Montgomerys with the ease of old friendship rather than employer-employee formality. The years had smoothed many of the awkward dynamics between their families, creating something that, while not quite equal, was built on genuine mutual respect. During dinner in the formal dining room, Harrison raised his glass in a toast. "To reunions," he said, "and to the remarkable journeys that brought us all to this table." Elizabeth added her own sentiment. "And to Lily and William, whose friendship changed everything." After dinner, while the adults lingered over coffee and dessert, William invited Lily to his study. The room had evolved with him, the medical equipment largely gone, replaced by books, a computer workstation, musical instruments, and framed photos documenting his progress over the years. "Have something to show you," he said, leading her to his desk where a formal letter lay open. Lily read the heading, "Harvard University Secondary School Program." "They've accepted me for next summer," William explained, using his tablet for the longer explanation. 6-week residential program for high school students, college-level courses, living in dorms. "William, that's fantastic!" Lily exclaimed, genuinely thrilled for him. "Your first time away from home?" He nodded, excitement mingled with apprehension in his expression. Big step. Parents nervous but supportive. Test of independence before full college in few years. The milestone struck Lily profoundly. William, who had once been unable to communicate his most basic needs, who had been written off by medical professionals, who had spent years fighting for the simplest forms of autonomy, would soon be living independently among neurotypical peers, taking advanced courses at one of the world's premier universities. "You're going to amaze everyone there," she said confidently, "just like you always do." William switched to his voice, the words slow but determined. "Because of you, Lily. Everything started with you." Lily shook her head. "I just saw what was already there. You did all the hard work." "Team effort," William insisted, his hand finding hers with newfound dexterity. "Always has been." As they rejoined their families for Thanksgiving dessert, Lily found herself reflecting on the extraordinary journey they'd shared. From a chance encounter beside a swimming pool to a friendship that had transformed lives, launched a foundation, and changed medical practices for non-verbal children across the country. The path ahead would bring new challenges. William's continuing medical journey, Lily's developing career, the inevitable divergence of their daily lives. But watching him now, engaged in animated conversation with her father about Westfield's landscaping innovations, Lily felt certain that some connections transcended circumstance. The frightened, silenced boy in a wheelchair and the hungry, observant groundskeeper's daughter had seen each other when no one else would look. That moment of recognition had altered the course of both their lives, creating ripples that continued to expand in ways neither could have imagined. "Penny for your thoughts?" Elizabeth asked, noticing Lily's contemplative expression. Lily smiled, watching William demonstrate his improved hand control by cutting his own slice of pumpkin pie, a small act of independence that represented years of determined effort. "Just thinking about how far we've come," she replied, "and how lucky I am to be part of William's story." Elizabeth followed her gaze to her son, pride and lingering amazement evident in her expression. "We're the lucky ones, Lily. You gave us our son. Really gave him to us when we couldn't see him ourselves." As the evening drew to a close, William walked Lily to her car, his exoskeleton humming quietly in the crisp November air. Before she left, he spoke again, his voice stronger after a day of practice. "Christmas break?" he asked. "Piano concert, playing Silent Night." "First recital." "I wouldn't miss it for anything," Lily promised, hugging him goodbye. "Save me a front row seat." As she drove away, watching William's figure grow smaller in the rearview mirror, Lily felt a deep sense of peace. Whatever challenges lay ahead, whatever paths they would each follow, the connection they'd forged remained unbreakable, a silent truth they'd discovered together years ago when a desperate boy screamed to be heard and a hungry girl stopped to listen.